rolling.
Shalom, Kim.
Shalom, 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 shalom.
As always, we're just going to start it off. Call Imla, Yahawa, Ba'ashim, Yahawashi, Ba'ashim, Rakapadash. And once more, double honors to Ribs and Apostles and the artists that you find this video edifying and exhorting.
Yeah.
So,
We're going to open with a precept from 2 Kings chapters 5. We're going to read to get to the point, read up to about 15. So along the lines, the title of the video, along the lines of as soldiers of Yahawashi. And that's what we all want to be. We all want to really be soldiers. You know what I mean? So when we leave, we're here now, but when we leave, there will be a legacy. Right? We're going to talk to our children, and they're going to talk to their children. But the point is, as soldiers of Yahawashi.
So this is 2 Kings chapter 5 and verse 1. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master and honorable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper.
Right. So he didn't have much in way of a chink in his armor. He was a mighty man. He was given a lot of the necks of his enemies, which we'll get into some of that. But he had one thing, which was a chink in the armor, right? And as it says there, he was a leper.
Yep. Okay. So continuing on, it says there, verse 2, and the Syrians had gone out by companies and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife.
Right. So she was a maid of many, amidst some captive of Israel were taken captive. What they say, how they held them hostage.
Held captive.
Yeah, or hostages. They got hostages and that kind of thing. So carry on. Kind of explanatory.
Yep. Verse 3, and she said unto her mistress, when the Most High, my Lord, were with the prophet that is in Samaria, for he would recover him of his leprosy.
Right. What does she know? She's saying something there. She knows something here. She's saying there could be a chance you could be recovered from your leprosy. Yeah. She's gonna explain some stuff. Yeah. Bearing in mind she's just what do you call it? A captive or a hostage. Yeah.
It says in verse 4, and one went in and told his Lord, saying, thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Israel.
Right. She's an Israelite. Yeah. Go on.
And the king of Syria said, go, and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed and took with him 10 talents of silver, and 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of raiment.
Yep.
And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, now when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou mayest recover him of his leprosy.
Right. So she brought the letter, and he's given the letter to her. Right. He brought a letter to the king of Israel, saying, now when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I therein sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou may recover him of his leprosy. Right, carry on, self-explanatory, yeah.
Verse 7, and it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes, and said, am I the Most High to kill and to make alive, that this man doth send unto me to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seeketh a quarrel against me.
Right. So he's not happy with that news. Right. Saying it come to pass when the king of Israel had read the letter, he rent his clothes. Right. That's something to do with it. You're angry, or you may be going into mourning, but he's really just expressing how he feels at that moment he read the letter. Yeah.
It says in verse 8, and it was so, when Elisha the man of the Most High had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel.
Elisha is the attendant of Elijah. Right. and he's saying, all right, you're not happy, but come to me then. You know, there's a way for you, but let's see what happens.
Yep. In verse 9, so Naaman came with his horses and his chariot and stood at the door of the house of Elisha.
Yeah.
And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean.
The chariots are their horses, isn't it? Because they're led by their chariots. The horses lead their chariots. Some make it confused like chariots in the sky. These are the chariots. Because they just, a man has a car today, modern day car.
Yep.
The ancient cars were the chariots, isn't it?
Car.
You say that?
Yeah, that's it. You know, like the certain Egyptian movies or Roman movies as well. You see them riding on chariots. Man. So those are just the vehicles led by horses. As you say.
Yeah, like Ben-Hur, for example. It was even in the Ten Commandments as well.
Oh,
When Pharaoh, he lost his rag. He got mad, and Moses went out from among him, and he got mad, and he jumped on his chariots, and his host of army was behind him. And he was going to pursue, so he fought. Moses, and he thought he was going to delete him, but we know what happened in that. So yeah, the chariots are the modern day today. A car is a modern day chariot.
It says here in verse 10, 2 Kings 5 and 10, and Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean.
Right. Yeah, so that's 10. Yeah, so this is what he was wanted. He always wanted to be clean from his leprosy. He always wanted to be cured. Just like if we had anything, right, we could be doing well in one area, but there's a little chink in the armor in another area. We're always going to be aware of it, innit?
Yeah.
We're always going to think, oh man, I wish I'm going to find a cure for this.
Yeah.
And this is what he came to. He was given what he needed to do. And it says there, what did he need to do? Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. He will be restored of his health. Yeah, carry on. The last couple of verses up to 15 going to explain it. Yeah.
So 2 Kings 5 and verse 11 now. But Naaman was wroth and went away and said, Behold, I thought he will surely come out to me, and stand and call on the name of the Lord, Yahawashi, his power, and strike his hand over the place and recover the leper.
Yeah, because he thought otherwise.
Yeah.
He wanted that.
The prophet
He would have been used to that royal treatment, you might say it like that. He would have been used to that kind of first class, you got in the first class carriage, first class plane, first class carriages, and now you have to be in the second class or the last class. I don't know if there's such a thing as last class, but lower class, but then you're used to first class.
True.
So he's not too happy about that.
Yeah.
He's not getting the first class treatment. Yeah.
He's got to remain humble.
And bearing in mind, he's a mighty man. When you go back to the beginning, he was king of Syria, right? A noble, right? And he was a mighty man of valor. So he's used to being treated a certain way. That's what he's used to.
Yeah. All right, verse 12. It says, Are not Abana and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel?
Yep.
May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in rage.
Yep. So self-explanatory. Come better than that, man. Why that river there? You know what I mean? The Jordan River or the Gulf River of Suez.
Yeah.
Right? All the waters of Israel say Damascus and Habana and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than the waters of Israel. Right, yeah. So what's your problem, man? What are you trying to do to me? You're messing up my street cred. You've got a reputation to live up to.
He's high up there, so he's got certain standards. Doesn't want to drop below.
So he's got a reputation to keep up, far as people observing him and all of that. Yeah, go on, because there's a moral of the story, obviously, we're going to get to it. Carry on.
It says in verse 13, verse 13, and his servants came near and spake unto him, and and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee do some great thing, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he saith to thee, wash and be clean?
Yeah. See, if it was more dramatic, you would have done it.
Yeah.
So this is not so dramatic. So why would you put up your nose to it? You know what I mean? Great king, and he's being respectful. He's being respectful. Yeah. And his servants came near and spoke. This is what his servants are saying. So his servants are being respectful. Right? Self-explanatory. Yeah. Last two verses.
So verse 14, it says,
and these are basically questions. Yeah. Doing some great thing. I'll read it again. And his servants came near and spoke unto him and said, My father, if the prophets had bid thee do some great thing, wouldest thou have done it? If it was more dramatic, more probably would have jumped to it. You know, because sometimes people like things to be more glamorous and dramatic.
Like a show off.
Yeah, to show, to display, and it make it look good. But this is just a basic thing. Go and wash it. Go and wash in the river of Israel, and you'll be clean of it.
That's it.
And leprosy, them days, as a matter of fact, let's just look up the word leprosy. Yeah, look up the word leprosy.
The blue letter or?
Yeah, look it up in the. If you go to page, yeah, look up in the blue letter. Go to the blue letter.
Leprosy, verse 3. It says it means leprosy in people, malignant skin disease, in clothing or mildew or mold, in buildings or mildew or mold. Well, there's different types of leprosy, you know, the skin, and of course you got the clothing and you got all the building. Of course that leprosy is talking about whiteness, a lack of melanin.
Pigmentation. Pigmentation being destroyed. And sometimes you see people, they may have because you've got the clean ones as well. Esau is a clean leper. If you touch him, you ain't going to get it.
Yeah.
But you've got the more, this is really, again, explaining.
The definition.
Yeah, again, it's going to tell you.
Yeah, it says leprosy, it says in people, malignant skin.
Malignant. When something malignant is deeply ingrained, incurable, malignant.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, tap in Google malignant, just to back it up. In Google there to clarify that. So where are we going with this? We opened up with the moral of there's a moral of the story. Obviously, everything's in the scriptures and everything we get from the scriptures. To clarify it, the title of the video, As Soldiers of Yahawashi.
So this is the definition of malignant, the Google definition. It says evil in nature or effect, malevolent or of a disease, a very virulent or infectious thing.
Yeah, when someone gets leprosy, sometimes it's so contagious they have to quarantine them. Quarantine them away. The extremes when it starts to eat away at the tips of their fingers, the tips of their nose, the tips of their ears. I think when I was younger, almost like, that's the extreme, not the clean one, but that's the extreme one where they're quarantining them away. The body's eating away at itself. There's other different types of names for certain things as well. But this is leprosy, the malignant type, where it's just eating away at the body slowly. And that's like a horrible way to die. So the mighty man, right? Credit to him, he was a mighty man, he was the king. He had a lot of victories in his arsenal, his reputation, and he wanted to live up to it. But carry on, because there's a beautiful ending.
This is 2 Kings 5 and verse 13. It says here, and his servants came near and spake unto him and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee to do some great thing, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he saith to thee, wash and be clean?
Right, that's the question mark at the end. Carry on.
Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of the Most High, and his flesh came again, that unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean.
Right. He was cured, clean of leprosy. Malignant leprosy, which is incurable. A lot of people can die a horrible, slow death.
Yeah.
But Naaman, the mighty man, the king, was cured. And who gave him the letter? The little maid servant. You understand? So he resented the fact that who's this little maid coming to me? Couldn't you even give me the dramatic treatment by sending the prophet to me? You send one of these little maids. You know what I mean? But he had a bit of he was proud. He was proud. But carry on.
Yeah, verse
Last
15
one.
says, and he returned to the man of the Most High, and he says, he and all his company, and came and stood before him, and he said, behold, now I know that there is no power in all the earth, but in Israel. Now therefore I pray thee, take a blessing of thy servant.
See, once he realized he was cured, but he had to steep down to a humble level, as you say. He had to steep down off his high horse. His high horse, he had to steep down. And that's sometimes, you know, the moral of the story, we're going to put ourselves in it. Right? Some of us had to steep down too. And I'm glad we did. I'm just looking back in your own personal life, and for us to make that leap of faith to come into the truth first and foremost. But we're going to see some other things too, right? Because we wanted to be cured of all our demons from the past, and we've made some leaps of faith. And the way that we look back and we say, the way that we did, it could have been someone who gave us that message. He maybe he was what's the word? Less educated than us, didn't know as much as us, or what's other things? Different kind of backgrounds. You could put different types of way. Wasn't really studious as what we may have thought, to our opinion. But as sometimes you realise when you're listening to brothers talking, you realise, boy, the spirit of the Lord is on that brother, man. Could be not as been as in the truth so called as long as you. And he may give you drop some gems, right? That going back to that, going back to the moral of the story in this mighty man, the maid dropped him some gems, man. Right? She was a captive of the army, and through her being captive of the army, the maid, let me see if I find it again, go back to it. Away captives, right here it is in 2. And the Syrians had gone out by companies and had brought away captives out of the land of Israel, a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. She was a maid of Naaman's wife. So the message really came through her to Naaman's wife, and then through Naaman's wife to the prophet, and through the prophet to him eventually. But he resented how on the first instant, he resented how it was broken down to him. He wanted the raw treatment, the raw, we say, first class treatment, the red, what they call it, the red carpet treatment. And these Edomites, right? They ain't gonna hear nothing from us. You got what they call them us today. Today they call them. There's a word for. You got witch doctors, people that deal with herbs. That's where we're going with this. True. People that deal with herbs, right? Because this is really what you might call you've got witch doctors. Because we used to deal with herbs from time, when we was in slavery, and they used to label us, which we got that from our forefathers, dealing with herbs. There's another word. You got holistic.
Holistic medicine.
Holistic medicine. Please look up the word holistic. I don't want this to make it too long, but really, she was giving a message to Naaman's wife. Naaman's wife dropped it to the prophets, and it was out of the box. Something that a normal physician, it was spiritual. Washing the Jordan River 7 times, and we go through the Suez 7 times. No other physician would have dropped that. And it was a test too. You got it?
Yeah, I got it. In the AI overview, it says holistic medicine treats the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, rather than just the symptoms of a specific illness, emphasizing that physical health is interconnected with psychological, social, and spiritual well-being.
Right, so in a nutshell, the holistic medicine, which we're hearing from our elders and apostles on down, trickling it down to us, we deal with the holistic, and our forefathers always dealt with the holistic. This example here, he dealt with the whole thing,
That's
and
key.
then some,
Go on.
and then some, because no, you got holistic doctors and physicians, I say, and you got holistic physicians that really deal with it properly, right? Because you got in the so-called conscious community, you got people there, they know some 1 and 2 stuff, and they deal with on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
But this was a case where it was from the right-hand side, the right-hand side advice. He had to contemplate it, and then he must have thought to himself, man, I don't think I'll get it from anywhere else. And that's why in 15, that kind of advice, he's thinking to himself, I don't, the same way we do sometimes. You've got to take a deep breath, count to 10. Hold on a minute. I've been to, we put the example of the woman that touched the Yahawashi with the flow of blood for 12 years. She spent all her life savings on the physician. And to put a balance on that, which we always have to keep doing that until we get up out of this bitch, because we have to wait till Yahawashi come back. Ultimately, that's Yahawashi. That's the holistic healer. But if you have to see a physician for extreme cases, you have to see them. That's the disclaimer. But we're drawing using this as a teaching moment.
Yep.
Sometimes it doesn't come from the physician. Sometimes it doesn't come from Tom, Dick and Harry. It may come from someone you don't even expect. You don't even really think that they know some stuff. But the Spirit of the Lord put it on that circumstance, that person, that circumstance. It's not even the person, it's just the Spirit of the Lord that's on that person. And it's a test too. Like I say, it could be on a brother that's new, a brother that don't seem to because what are most of the prophets? One example I'm going to use is the prophet Elijah, John the Baptist. Right? You can receive it, John the Baptist came back. But same spirit. But what was he? He was out of the box, totally out of the box.
Yeah. He didn't want to deal with people, man. He was somewhat like a hermit. As we know in Matthew chapter 3, it talks about him eating locusts and honey as well. Living in the wilderness, away from society.
Right. That's what you call nomadic life. And we're getting back to that, hence the title of the video, to be as soldiers, or as soldiers. Sometimes you've got to do some drastic things. A man come and tell you, got to jump in at the river over this. So.
Every brother's spirit is different, man.
Hold on a minute. What? And there's crocodiles in there. You're going to weigh it up carnally. Crocodiles, sharks. We don't know all the details, but faith. Sometimes it just takes that nomadic, take a deep breath and go jump in at the water. And what may. But hold on a minute, if you don't do it, no pain, no gain.
True.
No pain, no
pay
gain.
somehow.
So that's just that we wanted to start with that little bit of moral of the story there. And what did he say? Read 14 and 15 again. The outcome.
So 2 Kings 5 and verse 14, it says then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of the Most High, and his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean.
Yeah, I just want to use this in my little testimony. When a brother was always talking about cold bath, cold showers. I kept hearing it for years. I said, no, I'm not for me. No, that's for somebody else. I let it. It was talking. I never said anything. I was like, that's all right. That's probably somebody else's thing. That's not my thing. But you know what? When I started to climatize myself to it slowly, and then I started to do it, and then eventually now I'm doing it. Brothers do no. I'm going all out for it. Because even if I do the showers, I find that I feel a little bit like I'm tiptoeing around it. So I have to take a plunge. I'm not saying everybody got to do it. Everybody do their thing a little bit different. Everything ain't for everybody. Disclaimer. And it might not be right for everybody. Cold baths. But since I've been doing it, I've been feeling better. And I've been doing it for the most part, most mornings. I take the plunge, I just shut my thoughts. As a matter of fact, I tell you what, let's get a scripture, a precept to back up the point, because I don't want to just be rambling. Let's get anything you got, bring it, and I'm gonna find this one.
Yeah, this is 2 Timothy 2 and verse 3, which is really related to the lesson that we're doing. It says, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahawashi
It's on the
HaMashiach."
list. It's on the list.
Yeah, so even as Naman, the example that we brought in 2
Read that in the
Timothy 5.
NLT, Baba Kusha.
Come.
Yeah, read up to.
NLT.
Yeah. I think there may be a couple of verses as well. If you carry on reading, that same one.
In that same verse, 2 Timothy 2 and 3, endure suffering along with me as a good soldier of Hamashiach Yahawashi.
Yeah.
So that was the key verse there.
So that's Apostle Paul, and he's echoing Yahawashi's sentiment,
Yeah.
right? Because they both suffered beautifully. That's you put the right spin on it. Righteously, for righteousness' sake. Yeah.
The next verse,
Yep.
it says 2 Timothy 2 and verse 4 in the NLT, it says, "Soldiers don't get tied up in affairs of civilian life, for then they cannot please the officer who enlisted them."
Yeah. Read 5 as well. Carry on.
So 2 Timothy 2 and verse 5, NLT says, "And athletes cannot win the prize unless they follow the rules." Of course, as a soldier of Yahawashi, who's the one who's actually enlisted us to servitude towards it, we ought to follow Yahawashi rather than men, as the scriptures say, man. So really, as it says here in verse 5, it says, "And athletes cannot win their prize unless they follow the rules." And athletes, for example, the runners, marathon runners and sprinters as well,
And they're soldiers in their own right.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
you were
yeah.
saying, yeah.
in their own specialty.
Yeah.
We're also runners, but in a spiritual sense as well. That's why I talked about in Galatians 5. Ye did run well. In fact, I'll just get that up quickly as well. And also, Paul also said, if you run a race, know ye not that if you run, I'll just get it.
We said that a soldier, what we just read, second Timothy, a soldier cannot win unless he follows the rules.
Yeah.
So what we opened up with Naaman, he kind of hesitated. He was humble, really, though. It took a lot of humility for a man to
willing
come.
to do it.
Yeah, really. I don't even want to. I'm going to put a positive slant on this because you may certain amount of pride, but it took humility for him. Eventually, he overcome the pride, and it took humility for him to go and bath in the Israel. Yeah. Or go through the Suez for 7 times.
Yeah.
Because and he had to follow. That's going back to following the rules. He followed the rules and he was blessed for it, and he gave glory to the Most High. Sometimes that's what scenarios where we have to really say, hold on a minute, but is it a test from the Most High? And then I could be cured. You understand? Despite what it looks like, that's what he talks about becoming soldiers, man, of following your whole side, keeping to the rules. Yeah.
Yep.
You got the other one?
Yeah, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. "Know ye not that they which run a race run all, but one receiveth the prize, so run that ye may obtain." And of course, that's referring to the other verse in 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 5. Let me read it in the NLT again. 2 Timothy 2 and verse 5, "And athletes cannot win the prize unless they follow the rules, man." So of course you got to complete the race as well. That's why we pray to Yahawashi to give us the spirit of endurance, so that we endure and actually complete the race, we get the mark of the BCR, and then get to the point of salvation, which is the opportunity that Yahawashi has now given us.
Yep. And there's one about listening to the discourse, not to miss the discourse of the elders. You can find that one. That's I think it's a rock, isn't it? Yeah, see if you can find that. Not to miss the discourse of the elders. Recently, which we can't keep up 100%, but to the best of your ability to keep up. Because it's been putting me, it's increased my health. Me following and keeping up to the best of my ability in way of testimony, like the elder was talking recently, one of the recent ones, he was talking about the garlic. And yeah, I'm used to garlic. I take garlic as my medicine. I take tinctures. I've got all different types of things laid out, which is part of the discipline of being a soldier of Yahawashi Mashiach, keeping to the best ability to your health, your regime, right? The nutrition, and new one now is the garlic, and I usually just cut up my garlic and just yam it. But the new one was leaving it out. When you cut it up, leave it out for 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get for the allicin to develop in it, you know. And the allicin is what's going to help you with the C word. I'm going to mention the word C word and parasites. Understand? And help put a more potency to it when you leave it for 15 minutes. But why leave it for 15 minutes? I was thinking to myself, why just leave it? But that's see, but that goes back to it's a little thing, but then again it might make a whole of a difference. To jump in at the water, in at the river and bathe and do it not 4 times, not 3 times, 7 times. And the Spirit just made me just bring that out. Interestingly, and it's very fitting. 15 minutes, or if it's the river of the Gulf, river of Suez, the message was to do it 7 times. What's 7? Completeness, a complete number. Not 8, not 6, 7. Sometimes that's how the Most High be doing things, and it's gonna be the thing that you was always waiting for. But you just maybe you was doing it, you wasn't doing it the specific way. So there's times you just got to take soldier reactions or drastic reactions or nomadic reactions where he's saying this is what I want you to do. If it's a cold bath, my one, I know what works for me now. I sometimes just have to shut off my mind and just sometimes the flesh says, oh, hesitate, go and do something and come back, go and do that, come back. No, do it, get out of the way and do what you have to do after. Drastic soldier, nomadic action.
So it says Ecclesiasticus 8 and 9, miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learn of their fathers, and of them thou shalt learn understanding, and to give answer as need requireth. So, you know, as you talked about, it says miss not the discourse of the elders, you know, the teachings of the elders, the advice of the elders. It means that we should really take heed to it, and you have to apply it to our lives so that we can also improve and of course get healthy. As Apostle Tahar, Apostle Kabar, recently I've been getting more into the health and saying what brothers should exclude from their diet and include into their diet in order to do better in this ministry, which of course with a healthy body we're able to go further.
We touched on that last week.
And then be more consistent into the ministry.
It's better than gold. A healthy body is better than, you know, infinite wealth. We kind of went into that last week, but the Spirit has us kind of bring out that story, because that story is always in the back of my mind when sometimes when it comes to certain things you hear brothers be breaking down, and also you can watch your brothers, you know, they got some good testimonies. This is what happened, and this happened, and it worked out for the better. You know what I mean? And then you can. It makes it easier for you to follow. Obviously, the prime example is Yahawashi, and in Apostle Paul, he's just relaying the message of Yahawashi as well. So we've got a precept here, 2nd Ezra 14 and 14.
Alright, 2nd Ezra 14.
Point is done made, but let's elaborate a little bit. There's a whole heap of things going on in the news too. You can maybe touch on some of those things.
This is 2nd Ezra 14 and verse 14. It says, let go from thee. This one might be a different version. Does it say from? From Salah. But this one's a different.
On my other phone, that be putting me off as well, man. Go on.
So 2nd Ezra 14 and 14. Let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen.
So what are those mortal thoughts? Let me just break it down for it. Because the mortal thoughts are what? Carnal thoughts. The flesh. Hesitate. I'm not using health as an example, but it applies to the spirit as well. Today I had to just throw up, you know, the weather was having us kind of like check, what's the word? Second guessing. And the scriptures tell us not to, you know, for the sower who be sowing, like the farmer, if he be watching the weather, he will never sow.
Yeah.
In other words, getting too concerned about the weather, you're never going to plant down and put down. So sometimes it's just to make that leap of faith. You know, as in the example of Neiman, you know, he would have been happy, man. And I've got my things that Lord willing, some things that you ain't gonna get on this side. We know all about the 7 women and all of that. we know about the Yahawashi when he returned with healing in his wings, and that's the completeness that we want. The completeness, hence the new bodies. So, but we're not expecting everything. But yeah, there's certain things we're gonna get on this side, which is in order for us to get those things, we have to let go of the mortal thoughts. Right? Cast away the burdens of man, things that we, what's the word? Heavy on the mind, worries, civilian life, being under, you know, the regime of the modern day Babylonians, paying taxes and all of that. Yeah. But you just do it, right? Because why? Put off. Yeah, we're subject to payment. You want to get it?
Yeah,
you want to get it
right now.
Put off the weak nature, right? Just what you got to do, you got to do, right? These people are corrupt. I done a video earlier on today. Angela, one of the Angela. She's the housing.
Angela Rayner.
That's it. Yeah. We may touch on that. Because these people, as a matter of fact, let's bring out a little bit, expose some of these Edomites' ways. First of all, who is she? Who is Angela Rayner? I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier on, but bring out who is she, and then what does she do? These people's hypocrisy. Since we usually bring out a little bit of news, which is prophecy, we're going to touch on that as well.
Let me get who she is first. So who is Rayner? So it says in the overview, not AI overview, it says Angela Rayner. From Wikipedia, Angela Rayner is a British politician and trade unionist who has served as Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom as Secretary of the State of Housing, Communities and Local Government since July 2024.
So she was allowed in, and I've heard some other things about her, but there's one thing that just recently was in the news at the moment. Yeah. And she's the Deputy of Housing, isn't it? Some brothers probably know already, who keep up with all the politics over here in Babylon. Yeah, and Keir Starmer, anyway, what has she done?
Yeah, so it says Rayner admits underpaying.
You see, she's one of the red Edomites, man. Typical red Edomites. Yeah.
Rayner admits underpaying tax on the whole flat as Prime Minister backs her. It says that Angela Rayner admits she didn't pay enough tax on her second home.
Right, so she's caught bank to rights. They say admit, but she caught bank to rights. So she had to admit it. She can't deny it. Red-handed, yeah?
And it says has alerted.
They usually like to lie their way out of things. What is it? Esau is a
cunning hunter.
He's a cunning hunter. Hold on. He's estranged from a wound. As soon as he be born, he'll be coming out speaking lies. Paraphrase. You don't got to find it. You don't got to get it. But finish the article. Yeah, so they usually like to try and lie their way out of it. Yeah.
She didn't pay enough tax on her second home.
And they are cunning hunters too, yeah. That's true, I can't deny that. Yeah.
And as alerted HMRC, it says Angela Rayner has admitted she underpaid stamp duty when buying her £800,000 flat in Hull, as the Prime Minister gave her his backing.
Yeah, and that's the woman who's behind us when we be worried about keeping up with paying our rent. You know, she's under that the housing deputy, all of that, making sure that people pay their the housing tax and all of that.
Yeah, stamp duty.
And we be hearing our parents, you know, and people who we know, they be worried they miss one payment, they're fretting, man. Us too, we got to keep up with everything, but they be extorting the poor. scriptures tell us about that.
Yeah.
Exploiting the poor, right? They go astray as soon as they be born. That's Psalm 58.
Yeah.
They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. He's a poison adder. You know, loosely paraphrasing. So they're the people that are in charge of. They supposed to be keeping, setting an example, man. Anyway, just wanted to bring a little bit of that out there, exposing the hypocrisy, hypocrisy of the Edomites. And now you got this Epstein files, right, with Trump. Some say he went missing for a little while, or you're hearing all kinds of things about Trump. But anyway, we know he's worried. That we do know he's worried because people have actually come forward. I've got a quick snapshot here. People have actually come forward. This was recent. These are the whistleblowers or the victims. It says the abuse. One victim of the Epstein survivors, right? The abuse was real. Epstein survivor implores Trump, who again calls case a hoax. Right, we're just gonna, touch on a little bit of the hypocrisy of the Edomites. May get into it in future videos, because basically it's showing us that this kingdom is on its way out. Yeah. Esau's the end of the world. Is the beginning of the after that follows. You want to read a little bit of that?
Yeah, I've got a little article.
Just read a little bit. Touch on it briefly.
Yeah, so this is from The Guardian, the UK newspaper outlet. It says, Trump news at a glance, president labels Epstein scandal a hoax as bill to release all the files and inches closer. Just to get the definition of hoax here, just to get some clarity. Just bear with me. Definition of hoax, it says a humorous or malicious deception, a trick or to deceive someone. That's what a hoax is. So
right.
It's all about deception.
Yeah, that's what he likes to use that word hoax, fake news, anything that come up, any scandals that he gets himself into. As far as he's supposed to be a philanthropist, property tycoon, and he's been involved in. People have come up and said he's a fraudster and stuff like that, and he says, "Oh, hoax. He's a hoax." That's his deflection word, buzzword. Or the other word is fake. That's fake news. Anyway, but
Trump's a personality right there.
He's one character.
He knows how to act.
But does that not show us something? Beware of a moral of the story.
Yeah.
You got over here the Secretary of the Housing being caught red-handed with her hands in the cookie jar, not paying her taxes, right, or underpaying, and they're going to sweep this under the rug. And you got over there the president of Babylon, America, Nero, coming back. He's been caught with his hands, his whole arm in the cookie jar with the Epstein files, which we know the Epstein files goes into all that. It's all about pedo.
Yeah.
So the rabbit hole goes deep for these people, and the signs are there for us to see. The kingdoms are it's finished, man, as our big brothers usually say. You know what I mean?
So it says here,
place is finished.
Yeah, several survivors of deceased sex offender signaled their support for a bipartisan resolution to release all the files related to him. Key U.S. politics stories from 3rd September 2025. So this is recent. Today is 4th of September, but the news came out 3rd September. But it says Donald Trump has labeled the continued Epstein scandal the Democratic hoax and told reporters, "I think it's enough." A day after his administration released more documents as part of the investigation, the majority of which contained information that was already public. The president said on Wednesday that thousands and thousands of documents had been released, but no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. So Democrats and some Republicans in Congress have pushed for more transparency on the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein.
Because the pressure's on, and the victims are coming out. Right? This was where was this? There was survivors of Jeffrey Epstein abuse gathering on Capitol Hill Wednesday. right, to call for the release of all files related to the government investigation onto the convicted child sex offender. So it's all up in the Capitol Hill, in the front, the most public place, Capitol Hill, where for everybody to see.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're under pressure, man. Don't got to read all of it.
Yeah,
There's any little bits, touch what you want, but you touch it. So this is just giving us a sign that we'll soon out of these bits. Some more prophecies have to be. That's why they're stepping up their game. Revelation 12 and 12. Satan, he knows he's running out of time.
Yep.
Stepping up their game. They're speeding up everything as far as the Jacob's trouble thing with the southern and the northern tribe, the asylum seekers, right? And they've shut down Gator. What's that place? Alligator, Alcatraz. They shut that down now. They've been forced to shut that down. Too many things and investigations have been taking place. How the people are in there, dying horribly, and how they're treated in civil way that they're treating them. So this kingdom is backfiring on them, and they want to bring that WW. Don't say the word, but WW3. And before they get a chance to yam it up, put the spoon in their mouth, most are going to bite it out their hand.
Yep.
And whatever they got to swallow, most are going to make them vomit up again. That's.
Yeah, bro.
Tell you what, let's get into some of that as well. Job chapters 20, bring out some of that. Because we touched on, and we're soldiers right here. Right, so we just got to, they used to say this to us, pull up our bootstraps. Well, we're pulling up our bootstraps, and we're putting in the whole, Ephesians, more than pulling up our bootstraps. Ephesians chapter 6, right, putting on the whole suit of armor.
Yeah.
But,
So it says, this is Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him.
You're in verses
23.
read up a little bit. Read from about 4 and let's get some bits out of this. Some nice bits out of this. Read from
This
about
is Job 20 and verse 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short?
Right. So who's the wicked today? Right.
So,
The earth is given unto the hands of the wicked, and we see through the evidence, and we see that their corruption is being exposed, and we know that they're the wicked. Eventually they hold themselves not guilty, but the pressure is on now.
Yep.
Right, they're coming out and they're exposing themselves.
Yep. So it says that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Though his excellency mounts up to the heavens,
right, his royalty, his excellency, his dignity, his pride, he's walking with his head up. Trump, as a matter of fact, with Trump, right, Lord willing, let's find out something. And we're going to come back to this. Since we're here and we're making use of this at that time now, Daniel chapter 12, knowledge has increased. We're going to make use of this chat GBT, Lord willing, more in the future. But for now, let's check something out with Nero. How did Nero, ask the question
to ChatGPT.
How did Nero, Emperor Nero, die?
Alright, let me get this.
This is just going off the spirit. We never planned nothing on this, but we're going to see something here. Because the pressure's so on him now with the Epstein files. Maybe, let's see. Let's wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just typing it out, man.
Yeah.
Alright, so just wait for it to generate a response. Right, so it says here, I typed into ChatGPT, how did Emperor Nero die? It says Emperor Nero died by suicide on June 9th, 68 AD at age 30. Here's how it happened. By 68 AD, Nero's reign had become extremely unpopular due to heavy taxation. That's the spirit as well, because he's giving heavy tariffs to these other countries, especially China. Extravagant spending
Yep.
You know, suspected
He was a
role.
property tycoon, a philanthropist, so-called.
Come on,
He
come on,
got
come on.
Trump, the Trump Towers, to name a few, Trump hotels.
Yeah.
He was living in the, he was living that life, man. His
Yeah.
excellency lift up to the heavens. Yep.
Come on. It says suspected role in the Great Fire of Rome, 64 AD, persecution of Christians, political purges, including killing his own mother, Agrippina, and wife Poppaea. The end came when several provincial governors and Roman legions rebelled against Nero.
Right.
It also says,
Yeah, go on.
it says, the Senate declared him a public enemy, which meant
There's a group called back in the 90s, the public enemy #1, and now we've got the real. That's the real public enemy. The things that he's done. He's made himself an enemy.
So yeah.
Yeah, you got it?
Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, the Senate declared him a public enemy, which meant he could be executed in a particularly brutal way, beaten to death. Nero fled Rome and hid in a villa outside the city, belonging to a freedman named Phaon. It says this is related to his death now. Realizing he was about to be captured and executed, scripture talk about sedition among men as well.
And we're reading Job 20. We're going to get back to it. Yep.
It says, realizing he was about to get captured and executed, Nero decided to take his own life. He reportedly couldn't bring himself to do it at first and asked his secretary, Epaphroditus.
Don't worry about the name too tough, man. Just that name, yeah.
Oh God, to
His
help
secretary, go on. Well, that's me. I'm kind of used to it, but
okay.
the Levites and the brothers that are good on the tech, the Levites, them, and the perfectionists in that. But go on.
His last words was supposedly, you got the Roman lingo there, which is qualis artifex pareo. It says, what an artist dies in me. So that's what he said unto himself. But he committed suicide because of the fact that he didn't want to get captured and executed. So because of fear.
Yep.
So that probably was a very severe time of sedition, as the scriptures talk about sedition among men, which is really just men going against their government, their rulers.
Right. There you go. I mean, let's get back to the scriptures. And finally, the scriptures don't lie. Where were we?
Job 20 and 6.
All right, you can read 5 again, because it kind of, the scriptures are on point, man.
So this is Job 20 and 5, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite.
But for a moment.
What's
that other woman as well? You're included with this too. Angela, what's her name? Angela Rayner, right? Secretary of the Housing. You're included in this too. The hypocrites, right? Hypocrites. We're calling you out. Right now we're just calling you out, but soon you're going to have to serve out your debt to society. That's Obadiah, and then it's going to be your debt to society. That's Revelation chapter 14, in those verses. Slavery to those who had us in slavery. You don't have to get it, but you know the one. And there's Obadiah 18.
Oh yeah, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
And then you got Obadiah 18, right?
Yeah.
That's the bonfires. So you will be paying back your debt to society.
So.
Yep.
So verse.
But the triumph of the wicked is short, because what was it? He lived that life.
Yep.
And the people started to come against him. This is what it's going to say. It's going to kind of go into it now. Yep.
So, verse 5 again, Job 20 and 5, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever.
That's all the star, we call it the satellites up there in the heavenly, all the efficient planes. Cannot be compared to the chariots. We know that. I was watching a documentary last night. Could be a future video though. And the woman, right, because they interviewed the woman in the documentary, and I found it interesting what the woman said, right? Because this documentary, the UFO hunters, right, says dark presence, a growing phenomenon, right? In other words, it's increasing over there in Babylon and other parts of the world. Involves reported sightings of UFOs known as orbs, whose witnesses report experiencing odd dreams after they see them, right? Odd dreams, nightmares, and all kinds of premonitions and fears that goes into Zechariah 4 and 5. Right, he's terrorizing them, bringing them that fear. So yeah, they have their mount up into the heavens, but obviously there's something higher than them. Satellites they've got there, up there in heaven out, and possibly to her, I may have to do a video on it and get the facts a bit more, do some fact checking. But there's a so-called spaceship, which is a chariot of the Lord, half the size of Earth. That they've spotted.
Okay.
Half the size of Earth, and when you break it, as a matter of fact, yeah. Since you're here, right? Since you're here, let's look up the how many Earths can you fit inside of the moon? The Slakia. Half the size of the moon, Slakia. As a matter of fact, let me say it right. Elder Apostle Tahar said that they saw a chariot half the size of
the state of America.
No, half the size of the sun. And he went into a little bit, and I want to, because you're here, we're going to make use of some of the tech, right? How many Earth can you fit inside of the sun? How many Earth can you fit inside of the sun? I kind of went into it a little bit before, but since you're good on the tech, let's get into some of that. Whether you've asked Google, it doesn't matter, you can ask Google.
Yeah, I'll ask ChatGPT. It says about 1.3 million Earths can fit inside the sun.
Right. So now, when you put that down into kind of breaking it down, they saw a chariot half the size of the sun. Half the size of the sun.
Yeah, and it says
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, just a little bit extra. ChatGPT says, so you could fit about 1.3 million Earths inside the sun by volume if the Earths were squished in perfectly with no empty space.
Brother, all right, that's the point. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
1.3 million. That's the number.
Yeah, that's. I mean, brother, sometimes you can't help himself. You know, getting into the tiny with the loose ends. But that's the point, though. That's the point. So yeah, you're shitting bricks right now. Right? For those that have the telescopes, the higher powered telescopes, you know some stuff more than what we know at this moment in time. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Amos chapter 9, and starting from verse 2. It says, "Though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down." And when it says though they dig into hell, that's talking about the what do they call it?
Under the bunkers.
Yeah, the bunkers. You know, in the mountains where Esau says, "Let the mountains hide us." You know, as it says within Revelations. But of course, it says, "Though they dig into hell, thence shall my hand take them." And of course, when the elect of them beamed up, they will then come down. You know, as it says in Revelation 21, the Jerusalem coming down, you know, from the chariots. Boys, we're going to then scoop them up from those bunkers, man. So that's what it means by the Most High digging them up. It says, "Though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them." So that's how shall the hand of Yahawashi take them from the ground.
Yeah.
So they won't be there forever.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And Lord willing, the 144,000, Lord willing, we're among those numbers, right? Which is the army coming back, and the army is here being gathered right now.
Yep.
The house, which is the house of David. So as soldiers, with Lord willing, that's us coming back. The 144,000 amidst them, and the angels which they've seen, right? 9 foot tall, right? 7 foot is a conservative amount, but saying
just slightly taller.
So 9 foot tall,
big guys.
Yep.
You know, that aura about them. You know, as you say up here, you know, undefeated look.
Yep.
So Esau's got a lot to look forward for before slavery and when meeting Yahawashi and the angels, man.
Yep.
You know, so it says here, though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. So even if they decide to establish their space hotels and, you know, whatever spaceships and Trump and his space army, whatever he wants to do up there, Most High's just going to shout all of that, you know, when the chariots come in. So it's a wrap for Esau Edom.
Yep. So I've got that, everything covered. Yeah. So we finish off where we were in Job 20. And what happened to Nero, he was basically, they came against him. His people came against him because over the taxing, the oppression, and that's what they're starting to talk about now.
Yeah.
They don't want no king. They're already marching, you know, we don't want no king. right? Which is Nero coming back, and that's a sign that he is Nero as well.
Yeah.
And also the whistleblowers, the victims coming out, the Epstein files.
God.
Are you going to try and do the same thing? Well, let's see, because at the end of the day,
What's happened before?
prophecy is prophecy, and it cannot be stopped. And as you say, reincarnation, they always come back in that same lot.
Yeah. That which has happened before will happen again, and it says in Ecclesiastes 1. But yeah, so Job 20 and verse 7 now. Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he?
Right, that's what happened to Nero. He perished. You know, maybe he was literally flushed down the toilet eventually. I mean, you know, just like dung is.
Yeah,
So,
his own shit.
they go, and you don't care what happens to dung. Once it's in the sewage, nobody cares. Nobody wants to know anything. So we read 23. We might as well finish off with that. We read 23 in it.
Yeah.
Let's read
Should I
20.
read it again?
Read 23 again, and then read from around 26 to the last verses.
Come on, this is Job 20 and 23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating.
So it's gonna, it's gonna come suddenly and he's not gonna expect it, right? Nero, right? Nero and this other. You got the Secretary of the Housing. You also got Keir Starmer,
the UK, America,
right? Which is the Prime Minister of the mother of Babylon, because Babylon was given birth to by the mother in Great Britain, so-called Great Britain, which is the mother of Babylon. So he came forward and he said, Keir Starmer, the president or prime minister over there, prime minister over there, said he's supporting her in whatever she does. So it's just a sign that the kingdom is on its way out. It's a joke, as our big brothers been. You know, we know what it is, right? So the verses here kind of sum it up nicely.
So getting to the point in verse 26 onwards.
And so when you read down, if you've got any other precepts, bring out any closing words after that.
Go on. So Job 20 and 26. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from the Most High, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High.
Right, and you ain't going to live happily ever after, like the typical stories, those fantasy stories, the Jack and Ori stories, because this is your portion, as it says here, right? Not good. So, yeah, we kind of touched a little bit on, we are the soldiers of Yahawashi, who's willing, the hopeful elect, the 144,000 under King David, David under Yahawashi, Yahawashi under Yahweh. That's the order. And we're being brought up now, trained now for the sufficient spiritual warfare. Ephesians chapter 6.
And we're going the whole arm.
Right, not just pull up our bootstraps, as they was when they were saying that they was mocking us, but we are pulling up our bootstraps and a lot more. Putting the whole suit of armor ready for this battle ahead. Right, as we touched on a lot of some of those examples of me, right, and also the house of David being built back up again, right, putting that spirit upon us to continue in this. Lord willing, we do continue in it and endure to the end. So yes, the house of David is back, the soldiers of Yahawashi, and touched on some prophecy as well, the title of the video. Soldier of Yahawashi plus prophecy.
God.
So we're going to say Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.